We're going to try to test this out. I'm going to run this through full speed one time, and then I'll come back and hit some spots. So I'm going to try to move this around so we can see it a little bit more zoomed in. All right, so that's enough. Let's go. Let's go back to the beginning here. So here I'm looking at how we take our strokes here. All right, so let's just start first from, let's talk about the release. So I'm gonna try to zoom in here a little bit. And I want you to notice the top part of your hat relative to this straight line that's at that roof behind you, and the shoreline and the top of the green grass there. So you've got these kind of horizontal lines that are going there. All right, so then as we go through this, all right, so just look at the body. All right, so now right there, the knees are flattening. This is really nice. The knees are flattening and the body opens up. And now the knees are flat. That's you connecting through the core, through the quads, through the foot stretcher. Shoulders are leaned into the rigger. I love this. This is really good. And I like how you're looking now, especially since we're in sixes. This is good to look at. All right, so now we're driving the arms to the body. And now look at the space between the top of your hat and the roof of the building behind you. Right there. Okay, so look at that space. Arms are coming. Now, here's what we start to see is this sinking. Look how the head is sinking away from the roof. And it goes all the way down right to your hat is touching the top of the grass. So we've laid back, and I can't see that outside elbow anymore. Look at Patty's elbow. Can't really see it. Looks like that elbow is kind of turned down. So here's what I see, and we'll see what happens on the face of the blade. But the suspension is, like I said, is looking good. The knees are flat right in here. So at that point, we would want to keep the body into this position and keep it there, keeping that rigidity of the frame all the way through the foot stretcher. But what happens is if that handle were to keep coming to the body, it would hit you right either into the boob or just below the boob in the base of the sternum. When we lay back too far, you know where you want that handle to be. So now you're lowering the target. The sternum is lowering. Everything is lowering down into the bottom of the boat, and the handle is also lowering so that you don't hit yourself any further. You don't, because if that handle had kept moving on plane at that point and it stayed on plane, it would probably have finished up into your armpit. So you're pulling it, your body's going, I'm pulling the handle to the right spot of my body, but I'm lowering my whole body at the very last second. And then what we see when we look at this again, like more zoomed out, is here was the blade with some propulsion, knees flattened right there, body's laid back. Now we're connected. It's deep, it's dark, puddle, looking good. done with suspension, and now the beginning of the blade is coming out of the water. But look how much arm drive we still have to go, and we've started to lay back. And now the handle's pulling towards the waist, or it's actually directionally it's moving towards the waist relative to you. You think you're pulling it to your sternum, but you've laid back, not just laid backwards, but you've laid down into the boat. So now that blade is kind of tearing out of the water at the very end. All right, so then let's look at another stroke. So we're here and connected, boom, knees flat. And right after knee flat, look at the handle. Boom, now it's heading south already. Heading south, handle's heading south, blades coming out. Blade should be finishing being buried. And that elbow, look at the elbow and the shoulder. Looks pretty solid. And then all of a sudden that outside elbow goes down and down in the bottom of the boat. And look at the shoulder, follow it, and that whole shoulder leans down, and we no longer see that outside wrist anymore. So it's a combination of laying back too far. Watch the head, look at the head right there and the line with the roof, and then watch it sink. The whole body, it lays way back into the boat and gets really deep in there. And I mean, look, you're already there, and then we're actually going to sink down some more. Boo, 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 boo. So I'd like to see less layback. I'd like to see the handle getting all the way through the top to the surface, or to the sternum, and a little less layback, but keeping the blade buried. We want to go with this idea that only a buried blade is going to have propulsion on the face of the blade. So right there, that's perfect right there. Don't lay back anymore. Arms driving to the body, getting all the way through, and then now we're starting to tear it and dump down to the waist because we don't trust the quality of getting that blade out of the water. All right, so now let's come to the catch side. All right, so now I'm going to zoom out for just a second. And now we have a blade. So there's the blade, and it right there, that's not looking too bad. Actually, this was really good that I snuck up on this one, so I didn't really focus on this one. But look at this one. It's the only splash on this one is the back side of the blade. Boom. Look at that. By the time it's half buried, we've got the blade getting backsplash, and now there's the front splash. So, and this is pretty true when you start to see splashes. To the naked eye, they look like a V that's happening at exactly the same time, but they're really a back and then a forward splash as the blade's finish and getting covered. But look how they're of equal height at this point. That's really good, but it's just not consistent. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And then what we can see there is there was an upper body change right at the last second. Look, there's your shins. Look at your shins, and the body is set. So that's when we should be unweighting the handle, but you kind of go for more, and now we're over compressed, and now that blade should definitely be in the water. Look at it relative to the boat. Like, look at the lime green sleeve of Ann's oar. So that's when it should have been in the water, but then it skies, sits there. You've kind of lunged, stalled. Now your butt has already, now your butt is moving back to the bow. So the butt's moving back to the bow. We've begun to push. It's taking a long time to get the blade covered. We didn't have any backsplash, and now we achieve lock on right there. And look how far through the drive we've already done. So you really didn't do much on the face of the blade deep into the catch. So again, mid-drive bend is good there. Look and knees flatten there, and there's your layback. Maybe there. That's it. Got to be done with layback. You still have a little bend in the handle. Now, as we bring the handle to the body, look at the handles heading south. Look at your layback right, and we're starting to pull down, and then we kind of laid extra back. We were laid back there, and then we kept laying back as the handle's coming to the body. Let's watch this one more time. Blade. So blade, where's the blade closest to the bow? So it's kind of in line with where Patty's white leg and shorts are at. And then it could have gone in, but it doesn't. And so now look at what the upper body does. There's shins perpendicular. Shoot.